Alright lads, welcome to another one of my video reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the TAM 2IP, standing for Improved Protection. This tank is a premium light tank, found at battle rating 8.7, located in the German tech tree. To purchase this vehicle, you'll have to pay up 8,910 golden eagles before putting this tank in your lineup for a cost of 10,000 silver lions. After this rather hefty price tag, you'll have to buy the Expert and Ace qualifications if you want better performance in this tank, costing 940,000 silver lions and 2,100 golden eagles respectively. Being a premium, it does have a pretty low repair cost of just 4,770 silver lions. In terms of rewards, and with a premium account, you'll have an RP modifier of 660% and a silver line modifier of 450%. In terms of customization, the TAM 2IP gets all the standard German camouflages, but no Guardian Marketplace skins. With the TAM 2 being the newest top tier German premium, it is in direct competition with the Leopard L44. So is this tank worth it? And is it better than the Leopard? Well, in this video we're going to cover the mobility, armour and firepower of the tank before finishing with a conclusion. If you'd like an answer to the question, then stick around for the rest of the video. Starting as always with the engine and mobility, and the TAM 2IP is powered by an engine producing 720 horsepower. Combined with the vehicle's weight of 30.5 tonnes, it gives this tank a power to weight ratio of 23.6 horsepower per tonne in realistic battles. This is actually very good for a battle rating 8.7 vehicle, and does exceed the power to weight ratio of the Leopard A1A1 L44, arguably this tank's main competitor. The tank feels very snappy and accelerates very quickly, mainly due to that good power to weight ratio. It turns and rotates pretty quickly as well. It just feels like a good tank to drive. We also have very good top speeds. This tank has a reverse gearbox, meaning it has the same top speed going forwards as it does reverse. This means that in realistic battles, the TAM 2IP can reach a top speed of 76 km per hour in either direction. This combined with your high power to weight ratio means you do achieve this top speed pretty quickly. And it's fairly easier to nip around the battlefield in this tank, because not only do you have a good top speed, but you get to that top speed pretty quickly. I was pleasantly surprised by just how fast this little tank was, and its mobility is leap and bounds better than that of the Leopards. Being a light tank at a high battle rating, this is naturally expected however, and the fact that the TAM 2 does outperform the Leopard is pretty much par for the course really, the Leopard being a medium and this tank being a light tank. But overall, this tank is good to drive, it's fast and it's fun, and you just feel like you're having a good time when you're driving it. You could rapidly accelerate and get to where you want to go on the battlefield, usually before anybody can shoot back at you. So moving on to the armour and survivability, and the first thing to mention is that this tank has a crew of 4 men, with 3 in the turret and a driver in the hull. The engine of this tank is front mounted, so just like the Macarthur and other tanks in game, the engine block will add us a little bit of spaced armour. However, I would not count on this to keep your crew safe. Now this tank is called the TAM 2IP, or Improved Protection. This is due to the addition of composite screens on the side of the hull and the front of the turret. Now this does add some sort of protection against chemical energy, but it isn't really effective and it isn't really going to stop any heat FS or APFSDS rounds, especially at battle rating 8.7. Moving on to the amp performance itself, and to test this we're going to be using the XM1's gun, the battle rating 9.3 American Premium, which is incredibly popular at the minute. So as always, starting with the lower frontal plate, we have around 45mm of amp protection. Not amazing, but nothing too bad. If we go to the upper frontal plate, our protection pretty much doubles up to 82mm in places. This is highly angled, so it will bounce the occasional round, but again, just like your improved protection, I would not count on this to bounce a shot. So moving up to the turret, and we do have slightly better protection, up to around 110mm. Now this is a little bit better, but again it's not really good enough to protect you from high explosive anti-tank or APFSDS rounds. If we return the camera to the side of the vehicle, the protection on the hull is pretty minimum. Just like the lower frontal plate, it's around 45mm thick. If we go up to the turret, again, a little bit better around 52mm, 50mm. Overall, the protection of this tank isn't going to be enough to stop any type of round coming in, especially that weaker armour. While the composite blocks are a little bit of a meme, they're not really going to do anything in terms of protection. The crew of 4 men is pretty weak. You do have that engine mounted right here, which is going to do a little bit to protect you, but again, I wouldn't count on it. This tank is a light tank, so play it as a light tank, be sneaky. Luckily you've got great mobility, so that does play into your role. Alright, so moving on to the weapons and firepower, and this tank is armed with the 105mm FMK4 Modelo 1L cannon. For all intents and purposes, this is basically just another 105mm copy of the Royal Ordnance L7 British gun. Pretty much the standard gun for most NATO tanks around battle rating 8.7. You can carry 50 rounds in total, with 29 of those rounds being classed as your first stage ammunition. The vertical guidance characteristics of the tank are pretty weak though, with only 7 degrees of gun depression and 18 degrees of gun elevation. While the elevation is not bad, the 7 degrees of gun depression is pretty weak, and will limit this tank's ability to go hull down. The gun, however, is stabilised in both the vertical and horizontal planes, but you pretty much expect that at battle rating 8.7. Moving on to the reload, now if we take a look at the reloading skill under the loader section, we have a base reload speed of 8.7 seconds, which drops down to 6.7 seconds with an ace crew. Again, this is standard for pretty much all 105mm guns on NATO vehicles, so nothing new here, it's basically the same as every other vehicle. So you won't have an advantage or disadvantage. Moving on to the targeting skill under the gunner section, we have a base turret rotation speed of 23.8 degrees per second, which rises to 34 degrees per second with an ace crew. This is pretty good, and in combination with your great mobility, you will be able to react to emerging targets. Moving on to the modifications, and I want to point out that this tank gets access to a laser rangefinder, but does not get access to any sort of thermal imaging. You will only have the United Vision sights on this tank, so this is a major downgrade of the Leopard A1A1 L44, which does get first generation thermal imaging. Being a battle rating 8.7 premium, the lack of thermal imaging is a major weak spot in my opinion, as it seriously limits your ability to spot emerging targets. But moving on to the ammunition, and our first stock shows the TAM 2IP fast round. This is found on pretty much all of the other German high tier vehicles, so it's nothing really too spectacular. It travels at a muzzle velocity of 1173 meters per second and contains 1.27 kilograms of TNT. This gives it pretty decent post penetration damage, especially as it can penetrate 400mm of flat armour. Our second stock shows the DM502 Hesh round. This travels much slower at 732 meters per second and contains 4.31 kilograms of TNT. This round is capable of penetrating 127mm of armour at all ranges and all angles, making it very versatile against lightly armoured targets. Our first unlockable round is a DM23 APF SDS shell. This travels at 1455 meters per second and can penetrate 278mm of armour at a range of 500 meters angled at 30 degrees. And our final shell is a DM33 round. This travels at 1455 meters per second and can penetrate 336mm of armour at a range of 500 meters angled at 30 degrees. DM33 is standard at this battle rating for the German tech tree, but does have very good post penetration damage effects, usually resulting in lots of one-shot kills. Apart from the main cannon, this tank does have 2 rifle caliber machine guns, one mounted coaxially and one mounted on the roof in a pintle mount. Overall, you could see the TAM 2IP as a tracked version of the Radkampfwagen 90. It has a DM33 round as well as a high velocity 105mm gun, but lacks thermal imaging and other crew comforts typically found at top tier. To conclude, the TAM 2IP is a great little light tank. It's fast, fun, and has a powerful punch. While it is lacking in survivability, the same could be said for its older brother, the Leopard L44. The thing that most people would jump to with the L44 and the TAM 2 comparison is the L44's bigger gun, having a 120mm cannon, whereas the TAM 2 only has a 105. The Leopard fires a DM13 round, which is a very early APF SDS round, giving it pretty poor post penetration damage, whereas the TAM 2IP fires the DM33, which has better penetration and has much better spalling, which increases the chance of a one-shot kill. I would certainly say that the TAM 2 has better mobility and therefore survivability than the Leopard, purely down to its mobility alone though. We both know that the armour of the TAM 2 is pretty atrocious. But the thing that bothers me is a lack of thermal imaging. While you've seen from the background footage, you can still easily get kills without thermals, but it is a quality of life improvement that you just need at battle rating 8.7 above. Especially considering at battle rating 8.7 you will be frequently facing 9.7 premiums, such as the T72 AV terms. When you're playing with the TAM 2 in an 8.7 lineup and you get fully up tiered to 9.7, it is quite painful. This is another downside of this vehicle in my opinion, as a German 8.7 lineup isn't what it used to be. Most of the powerful German tanks are now battle rating 9.0 or 9.3, leaving 8.7 as a rather mediocre battle rating. This only really matters if you are going to buy this one premium alone and haven't yet grinded out the German tech tree. If you're already at top tier Germany, then this might be a great little backup premium for you to purchase. But if you're a new player looking to get a foothold in the German tech tree, then I'd still say that the Leopard is a better choice. As a TAM 2IP is a tech tree premium, you have to pay for it in Golden Eagles, and you don't get access to any sort of premium time or complimentary Golden Eagles. Whereas with the Leopard, you get 15 days of premium and 2,000 Golden Eagles. If you're an experienced player, then I still wouldn't really recommend getting this tank. For nearly 9,000 Golden Eagles, it just isn't worth it, especially considering you can get the T-72 in the Soviet tech tree for around a similar price tag, and we all know how overpowered that thing is. For a final word on the tank, it is fast, it's fun, it's decent in the battlefield, but it just doesn't feel perfect. Not enough for me to separate with nearly 9,000 Golden Eagles. I hope you very much enjoyed this review, lads, and thank you very much for watching. I'll hopefully have a lot more of these videos coming soon. So again, thank you to everyone that's been supporting me these last few months. I know my upload schedule has been a bit hit and miss, but again, from the bottom of my heart, lads, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers, lads.